welcome to the BeoTalk 300. Willie is frozen, so yay. He's probably resetting, hopefully.
Yeah. Oh, I see a message. He's having issues.
Oh God, Willie. Boomer Tech and all the things. Go buy stuff at Skinny Play and get 10% off. Promo code will be in the chat. Come join our Discord, and today is mostly about nothing and catching up and that sort of thing. Because we haven't seen Henrik in bloody ever. How are you doing, Henrik?
Yeah, but I'm doing good. It's been busy, and I guess that I haven't really joined for, I guess, a year or something.
Close to that, yeah.
It could be about that.
I think that I thought that when I moved into this new house that everything would just be done and everything would be good. But apparently, for some reason, there's always something to do. So from sanding down the wooden terrace to give it some oil, and now I just, for some odd reason, thought that the old part of the house needed new windows. So then we got into that, and I'm trying to build a garage as well. So there's always something to do here. And mowing the lawn, I mean, I have this robot driving around, but then there's all the edges, and I mean, it's just a never-ending story. I really thought that I would just kick back and relax and lay on the terrace and have some
apartment
sun,
that you need to buy a condo for that, man. You can't do that in the house.
I figured that out now. So it's been 1 year of endless stress of the house. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with the house, but I still find something to do all day long.
That's a good hobby. How's the little one?
Oh, he's good. He's good.
He's not little anymore, I guess. Yeah,
he's turning 4 in July.
Nice.
So yeah, he's having fun. He's in daycare, and everything is going good. And yeah, he's really into cars now. So it's like
why.
up for him. Yeah, I wonder why. So yeah, everything is just amazing.
Is he big enough to drive the smart car yet?
No.
Not far off.
Exactly.
And he can't sit beside me in the smart car because I, for some reason, can't figure out to turn off the airbag.
He's just as heavy as a case of beer now.
Yeah, kind of.
Little trigger. That's funny.
So yeah, everything is fine. Got 50s instead of the 28s.
Your favorite speaker?
It's sobered up. Yeah.
I mean, that was the reason this channel started, I guess, back in the days with you, Mikey.
Yeah, for sure.
But now the software works, and it works quite good. So
yeah, I don't think there's any more updates for those speakers ever coming out. It's all good to
hopefully
go.
Not.
No,
Hopefully not.
Rock solid.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really happy with them. I got them in anthracite, and
I was gonna ask.
In this wool thing in the front that matches.
Oh, the gold tone fabric, I guess.
Yeah.
The gold tone looks actually nice.
And light oak. So yeah, it's very, very, very good looking, and it just matches the room very, very good, and matches the floor and everything. So yeah, nice setup.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So what made you change from 28s to 50s? You needed more power, you needed more bass, or like you were longing for your 5s, but they don't make them anymore?
I mean, our living room or TV room is 9 meters, 0.6 meters. And the 28s was very good in the apartment. But here it was, I mean, it didn't justify the room, and it couldn't power up the room. So I was like, okay, what should I do? And I really wanted a pair of 5s again. I didn't want the 50s. I wanted a pair of 5s, but Heidi didn't want a pair of 5s, so we got the 50s.
Oh, there you go. You can be right or you can be happy, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's
that's a hard one to argue, though. By the way, I just
it is,
I mean, just tossing it out there.
It was
chose
okay
a good woman there.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, don't get
I
the 5s,
wanted-
get 50s. Yeah.
What are
I
you
wanted the 5s to get back to the old school, and I mean the 5s was the reason I got into Bang & Olufsen. So I was like, let's go for the 5s. And I mean, we could do that, but she wanted the 50s instead of the 5s. She doesn't like the UFO looking 5s.
That's the only complaint that I've ever come across with people. They either didn't like their visually, but nobody ever complained about the sound. It's just the waft.
And
It's
I
not
mean,
happening.
the sound of the 50s accomplish the theater much more than the 5s does. I mean, the
Yes.
sound profile is more like the same.
Yeah.
So I guess it's the right choice, definitely. But I wanted the 5s, but yeah.
But even on their own for music, the 5s sound perfect until you hear 50s.
Yes.
Just the way they deal with the bass is just so much more refined.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so much more accurate. Yeah, you can't compare.
Yeah. So everything we bought was anthracite and with the light oaks lamellas, so it would match the floors and stuff. And it looks good, in my opinion.
Anthracite is a nice color. I would always prefer that over, like, say, gold.
Oh, I wouldn't. I would love the gold, but I don't have the balls to buy the gold.
It's a very brave color. We've done only 2 theaters so far with gold.
I think when I could get it to look good in my house, but you get that Dubai kind of vibe when you do it. And I'm not sure I want to get that vibe into my living room, but I love the look of it.
It's a very big commitment to the decor as well, if you think about it, because the speakers are going to be with you for 10, 15, 20 years sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And now you're buying everything around them.
Yeah, and we got anthracite contours to the bedroom and Hamilton's room, and I mean everything is in anthracite now. So all things we have is in anthracite. So
living in the dark ages.
Yeah,
the dark ages of Vienna.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean,
You still have the 12s?
Products are good in gold.
Sorry. Do you have the 12 still?
Yeah.
Did you keep them? Yeah, those are. Oh, right there.
Yep.
Wouldn't those be cool if they came out with anthracite color?
Oh, I would move them into the living room right away if they did.
It's almost a shame that they could. Yeah, that's almost a shame that those speakers got discontinued, because they were very niche, I guess, with placement, right? The afterthought of a floor stand with that little back panel that grommets on, kind of.
I mean, I was going to put them into the wall here, and like remove some lamellas and build them into the wall
recess,
and I thought that would look very good, and then have a MDF plate or something behind so the woofer will do its thing. But then I got the floor stands from a local dealer for free, and he was like, "Yeah, just get them. You can have them." And I was like, "Okay, are you sure?" And he was like, "Yeah, it's gonna look good." And I was like, "Okay." And it looks very good, I think. I mean, it's like a sculpture when it's on the floor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Also,
it looks a very interesting speaker.
You can't beat it, no.
No, and if you're a sucker for aluminium, those are probably the most covered in aluminium, other than, well, the 18s, you don't really see the back of them much.
No, the 28s, you get some, but I mean, the 12s, you get a lot. I mean, the 28s are going into the garage to get some music out there.
It's a good place.
Spicy?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's going to be with a TV and some speakers, so you can sit down and play some Xbox. And
so are you going to do a Core Connect? Are you going to do a BeoConnect Core with the 28s from the TV, just to have the arc?
No, I think that I am maybe going for a BeoVision.
No, that's a better idea.
Yeah. Or just get an Apple TV, AirPlay to them. If it's the second gen 4K.
That's true. An idea too. But I'm not sure yet. I mean, it depends. I don't have heating out there yet. I think I need some air to heat unit or a BeoVision 4 103 inch.
That's it. I was gonna say, get a 465 at least. That'll do it.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I haven't got around to that yet, but I mean, I could go for an old BeoVision 11. I would love that.
Especially if you can get the BeoVision 1455 grill on it, or 46, the wood grill.
Yeah. And we're gonna do the whole garage like with these lamellas all around, and the ceiling is gonna be black, and the floor is going to be anthracite, and then with some hexagons in the roof, and it's gonna be open up to the roof. So it's gonna feel like you have a lot of space out there, and you can drive your car in and push a button, and then it will lift your car up in the middle, and it's gonna be.
Oh, you're doing the lift as well for storage?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, no, just a lift so you can change tires.
Oh, okay.
So like a small thing that will pull it up, like, I don't know, half a meter or something.
How often do you change your tires, brother?
I don't, but I'm going to do the floors in concrete, and I mean, might as well just put it in the middle. I mean, so you can do it.
Is it worth putting an inspection pit in there? So you get underneath.
Nah.
To dig out.
I'm thinking when I get my car in, I don't drive that in the wintertime, so I could pull it off the ground so the tires don't touch the ground. That could be an idea. My brother is detailing a lot of cars, so he can row around the car when it's on the lift. I think that's the idea.
That's actually a good idea, because you can raise the car to a reasonable height, so you don't have to be bent over and whatnot.
Exactly.
Yeah, that sucks.
So that was the whole idea. As
men, we all wash our cars, and you know how it is when you get to the rocker panels and all that, and it's just a pain.
Yeah, it is. It is. So nothing much more than that. I mean, Heidi got a new car, a tribute to Mikey. She got a Mustang.
Yeah.
Of course, a V8.
Nice.
Caprio, so she's having the top down and sunglasses, and
that's almost more impressive than the B&O with fuel prices over there.
I don't understand why she wants that, but it's a fun, pretty stupid car.
Well, I guess women are more sensitive to vibrations than us men.
Probably.
V8 will do it, that's for sure.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that I tried to, before we bought it, I was like, I need to check up on it and stuff, and then I figured out that every time they sold a new model, they went back to the buyers and said, what can we change to the new generation? What should we do? Oh, just make it louder. Just make it louder. And I did that. I did a video of Heidi starting the car in the morning, and she drives out at 7:30 in the morning. It just wakes up the whole neighborhood. And I cut in the scene from Eddie Murphy from Coming to America. Good morning, my neighbors.
Yeah, so your relationship with your neighbors is iffy now, or?
I mean,
or you don't see them. That's how good it is.
I have two neighbors, and both of them are car guys, so it's quite good.
That's all right then.
One of them has a Camaro and two Mustangs, and the other one has an old Volkswagen bus, a T2 bus.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
those are rare as hell nowadays.
Yeah, and he used to have a Chevy Nova. So, I mean, yeah, car guys, that's good. Because we're loud.
That's it. So, Steve.
Yes.
Awesome interviews, man. Awesome interviews. Yeah. And you know what's funny? Like, when I was watching that, I was basically reliving my moment with Thorsten in 2015 when I visited his office personally. And we did the same. Yes. When we went through that and showed me, I don't know, did you take a look at did you get to take a look at the Beosound Beolab 5 platter where David Lewis practices signatures for the release?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, that he has a platter, and David Lewis was like, well, you know, we need to figure out what pen will work on the grooved top lens. And there's a one lens, acoustic lens from the mid-range that has probably 15 or 20 signatures with David Lewis on it.
Brilliant.
That's
Torsten is a great guy.
Oh yeah. He's just, and I didn't even realize that he's been there that long.
Oh yeah, like 30 years.
Yeah. He's been there a long time.
Yeah, I think David Lewis was just designing the 9000 when Torsten started.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, as you know, he's amazing to talk to. But he doesn't see it as though he's really done anything great. He's forever saying, "Well, David was the great designer." It's like, no, you are.
You now are as well the same, man. And he was very humble about it. Because to be like, dude, like you're the god of BNO for design when it comes to, you know, back in 2015, the 18s were still very cool, right?
Yeah.
And how he dreaded that. And I didn't get to the point where he got to the point with the interview with you, where the timing, how bad the timing was with David Lewis's passing when they came after him. I just knew that he didn't want to, you know, touch that icon as a product to redesign it. But I think he's done a much better job than David Lewis did. But, you know, compared, you know, 2 decades of standing around with, you know, different capabilities that the factory has that they didn't have before.
You look at 8000s, they look perfect until you put 18s next to them, and it just, they're so much more elegant.
They get dated right away. They get dated right away.
Yeah. But yeah, that was great. I was gutted though. I was supposed to be interviewing Christian Tier as well.
Oh.
But he was in the States at the last minute, literally like 24 hours before.
Oh no.
Away. So yeah.
Wait, for
got the boardroom booked. Probably
But no, that's great. And I think that there should be more of that as well. Not just from you, but also B&O should interview their peoples and talk. Like the post on YouTube video from the AES, the acoustic engineering, whatever
Jeff.
With Jeff. I watched it the other day. Son of a bitch made me miss my 90s hard again. Because, you know, when he goes through that and the fives and then goes through the reiterations of all the speakers and however many, you know, we didn't get to see because they were just experiments. And then, you know, he explains all that. And I'm just sitting there like, I have those in my storage locker still. It's that was a great video. That was absolutely a great video.
Yeah. But yeah, I've got stacks more videos that I'm still working through. So loads more footage with Torsten and elsewhere. There's just come back from the Mayfair store in London, which, Mikey, you've got to visit. That place is awesome.
I shall.
So we've got a video with them coming up. They've got the 9000C as well, which is nice. It actually looks okay when you really see it in person, whereas in the pictures,
pictures never do the justice for B&O. And well, they used to do a little bit of justice back in the day when they didn't use renderings, where now it's just now it's all very video gamey looking, and it's almost too perfect.
I did notice something. I saw a video on the 9000 on Instagram, and for some reason they use angry people again. There is an angry Asian woman.
I'm so annoyed to have this thing. It's not expensive enough.
I don't know why she's angry, but I mean,
Oh, Mike, can we do a poll? Because Max has just been asking. I did a quick one on Discord. What's your favourite B&O designer? So Villa, Jensen, David Lewis. Who else we got? Noto Design, Cecile Mans, Moldenhoor, however many we can fit in.
Horst there.
Yeah,
we can fit in 4.
Yeah. So because Max has just been asking what was my answer on the poll on Discord, and I put Jensen. And something really good actually has come out of that video with Torsten below, because I goofed big time. I put the thumbnail. Torsten showed me a picture of this 1960 amazing stereo system, and I put on there it was David Lewis's design. It wasn't. It was Jacob Jensen. And the Jacob Jensen Foundation came back to me and said, "You've made a mistake."
Excuse me.
Yeah. So I apologised. I put it right. And talking to Thomas, the guy who is CEO of the foundation, he is amazing. He's a big B&O fan. I think there might be the possibility that we can explore Jacob Jensen's B&O legacy.
That'd be sweet.
In the future. So yeah, watch this space.
because Jakob Jensen design, like they have a plethora of different angles that they had taken off with a whole bunch of other gadgets in home, and I always wanted to get the smoke detector.
Designs.
Yeah. I always wanted the Jakob Jensen smoke detector.
Yes.
Which somewhat looks like a Beosound shaped tile, but not. It's more intricate. Looks like something from a spaceship. Very cool design.
I think they have a parking thing as well for your car.
Yes. Yeah. I've seen that. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, my first B&O was a Beocenter 3300. That was a Jensen design. And in fact, we found a picture of me as a baby a few weeks back with my mum. And in the background, one of her, Beovox 1000s. Again, that's Jensen. So yeah, I've got to vote Jensen.
Well, that was just the time and era you were living in, basically.
Yeah.
So,
but I love the way it's gone through Jakob Jensen, David Lewis, Torsten Velour. There's a proper lineage through there. It's like,
but it's also a design distinction. But it's also a very big design distinction in each of their art, I guess.
Yes.
But Jensen was very like architectural rulers type of thing, right? It was very engineering design where it just kind of softened down with Lewis's, and then
I almost have a hard time like distinguishing exactly where Lewis ends and Velour begins, because I mean
that's a good point.
I mean,
well, there's a 20-year blend almost, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Because I mean, I personally do think the 18s are, like, in terms of looks, way better than the 8000s. But like you said, it may also be just a capability. But
I mean, I'm for the Velour. I think that he really did something that was on beat with the time and the products. And I mean, he still have the respect for the old products. And I mean, try to take that as a designer and says, we have this. Make it better and make it look apart for this time and day and age. I mean, I would do something in my pants if somebody told me to do the legacy of those kind of things. So I mean, you need something
that's very intimidating. Yeah, but
I love it. I love that he just did it.
Iconically speaking, I think Lewis's design had survived the most or the longest, where some of the products that were designed in time kind of gotten forgotten, but the 9000, the Lab 5s, you know, the Beocenter 2, not so much, but the 9000 and the 5s, like these are, that's what in my opinion, majority of people recognize as B&O.
No, the 6000.
That was the best-selling speaker ever.
I mean, the 6000 is on the design. It's showcased on some design
in
whatever museum. I can't remember where it is, but I mean, the 6000 is the best-selling speaker ever, right? From B&O. And I mean, that is a statement piece. That is back in the days where JBL did like these square things, and that's how a speaker looks. And everybody did speakers in those kind of form factors, but
it's a rectangular black box, right?
Exactly.
And the premium ones had the veneer wood.
Yeah, exactly. But now you get aluminum and you get like this slim design and really big wife approval, and you can, I mean, put them in everywhere. And I think that's the spot, in my opinion. I like the 5s way more, but I do like the idea. I think B&O should make a new 6000. I mean, that would be so amazing.
I don't think there's enough room for the touch interface on the top.
There is
probably
for the Mozart. Get a Mozart in there.
Yeah. See, that's what I thought the 8s were going to be. Really early on, I thought they would be a 6000, and that's what I'd. If anyone in B&O was listening, sort of 2 years ago, that's what I was telling them, that we need a 6000 replacement.
I agree very much.
I very much agree with Beolab you. 1 replacement. We need a 6000, and we still do. B&O.
If they made that, let's say call it 6006 now, because we had 6002. If they made it just a little bit more chubbier, to put a little bit of a bigger driver, just because like they've done with the 18s to the 8000s, it's a bigger driver. I didn't know till Thorsten told me that, yeah, we actually had to design the tube is larger than it is on the 8000s.
Yes.
But not as big as the 8. Not as big as the 8. Smaller.
No. Well, 8, it's a jar of pickles, man. That's big.
Yeah, I agree.
It's an American jar of pickles.
That's right. It's a Costco jar.
It's like a Nutella thing in the US.
That's it. But I think, yeah, if they've done the 6000 something or revisited it in that design form, I don't know. I don't think that they should, the wood lamellas would look good on it, even though that's the theme of it, right? Like you would have to address it in a different way.
Or
Depends how
they
they do
should
it.
do as the 28s, so it will move. There need to be some moving parts on it,
Yes.
in my opinion. But man, I would love a new 6000.
Yeah, that would be good. I mean, movement is the one thing Thorsten has been so good at with things like the Harmony, the Beosound 2. That's just beautiful. Yeah, in fact, he was the man behind the Avant speakers that drop and separate. Yeah. So that's something that I've got loads of video footage on with him where he's explained how he did that, how he's made all those things work.
Did you see a bunch of Lego in the office?
Yes. And a Porsche 911 wing and all sorts of things. It's amazing what we've got there.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, they do, like a lot of the prototyping for the Beosound 5 interface was done with Lego. How the wheels and things would spin and the levers behind, and it's just hilarious.
Yeah. Well, it's Denmark. It's got to be done in Lego.
Well, you can't do it. I'm not going to do it in wood. But yeah, no, that office, I swear to God, you can spend an entire week in there just gawking at everything, and you still will need another one.
Yes. But then Noto Design's office is the same. And then you go down into the basement, and it's just, they've got all sorts, they've got old Jensen systems, like Beermaster 1900 down there.
Oh,
and all
really?
sorts of things. Yeah. So, yeah, they're very definitely, although they've not got that history with B&O, they've built it from basically just immersing into the old designs. And
what I particularly like about that is that without saying it, it's effectively like saying we want to keep your heritage alive. And we are new, but we don't want to like make this a Noto by B&O. It's more B&O by us, right?
Yes.
Which I think is very respectful.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I think they've done such a good job because, I mean, B&O have got, 98 years of design. To come in to that, even a decade ago, and try to build on that without just completely changing direction, that's a big ask. And they do really well.
I'll disagree with the 98 years of design statement, because they really started designing a few years later after the I forget the name of the gentleman that reviewed them, and they threw them under a bus that their product looks like a piece of bulky wooden furniture and it was unappealing, and that's where B&O had turned around and said,
the thing that did it
was the where did you get
Bow
that?
5 RG steel.
Did you get it 3D printed?
Yeah, a friend of mine in Belgium 3D printed it, Paul from the Belgian B&O Museum, and I love it. It's 1/8 scale and it's got an MP3 player in it, and it lights up. Yeah, it tells you what's playing. It all works. Little speaker, amazing thing.
Sick.
Yeah. I've been on one of the other things I've been doing is a little project tracking down the real ones and the replicas of these. So
this one is a unicorn.
It's better looking than the Emerge.
It's close call, but yeah, this wins.
Wait, so when was the product originally made?
1934, I think.
Because it looks like it's out of the 60s.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. Crazy. It was so far ahead.
Yeah,
they had the RGF, the furniture version, which was polished wood, and that just looked normal. But then you put this against it, and yeah, it looks space age in comparison.
I mean, maybe even the 70s.
Yeah. But it was Peter Bang designed this, and he got absolutely roasted by the Danish designers at the time. They hated it. Absolutely, they called him all sorts of things. And yeah, in the end, they scrapped most of them. They made 40. I think 2 or 3 sold. And then, yeah, the one that's in Oslo doesn't work. There's no insides to it. And I've found 4, I think, of the official replicas. that were made in 2000 for an expo that are floating around.
God, it's crazy that they got that much stick for something like that, and then like you go, well, 30 years later, and then everybody is like, yeah, this is normal now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But that's the thing, when you're 30 years ahead of your time with something like that,
it's hard to explain that to people or have them understand it.
In a way, I think the 5s were similar, because when they came out, I wasn't a fan of the looks at all. I much preferred the 1s, as in it's much more in tune with like what B&O always was, just like giant slabs of aluminium instead of wood now.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
having been around them more, like the 5s now look like their contemporary design, right? Instead of like 20-year-old design.
Yeah, and I think Beosound shape will be like that. 10 years down the line, people will go, "Oh yeah, we get that." Whereas right now, it just looks that little bit. It's ahead of its time. But I mean, I'm actually thinking I might go on a bit of a quest, because I know the guy who's got the original design for the full size version of this. If there's enough interest, I might actually get one made, an exact working replica. But
are you gonna put a Beolink in it?
then you can call it a C and sell it for a lot of money.
Right. Sell it for 1 million Danish kroners. But yeah, that's one of the rarest products. It's funny because it's been so unpopular, but now if you actually have one, you're the god of collectors when it comes to the B&O, because there is no one.
Do you think that'll ever be the case with the gold Samurai 90s? Have you ever seen those? They've got them in the boardroom in Lyngby in Copenhagen.
I've seen your interview with them, and I honestly commend you for keeping an eye contact, because I would have been just staring at those bloody speakers the entire time. Yeah, I've seen very detailed picture of them. They are insane, because the crowns are actually wood matched with aluminium or gold or whatever the heck it is, right? The attachment points are the only metal, and everything else is wood. Yeah. Oh, they look spectacular.
Spectacular.
I think they sold a pair. I don't know
if that's. Yeah, they've sold them. There's a guy
they sold a pair to a guy, and now the chat was going crazy for me putting 28s in my garage, but he actually put those in his garage. So I think that's a bit more crazy.
Yes, yeah. But what are they? 2 million krona, something like that?
Come again, Steve?
I think the Samurai 90s they sold for 2 million krona. So what's that? 250,000 British.
Yeah, and they're parked right beside his red Ferrari. So looks good.
Yeah.
I mean, the gold and the red. Wow, it's a good combo.
Yeah. But aluminium and red would have been even better, I think. Or black anthracite and red.
There is just something about supercars in Dubai, and I kind of like it. It's so much over the top that it's perfect, spot on.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of gold anything, personally.
Neither am I, but they look spectacular. I appreciate them for what they are, but not something that even, no matter how much money I would have had, I would not have put those in my house, because I just don't. I appreciate them, like I said, but I just couldn't look at them like that,
Well, if you had that amount of money, Willie, wouldn't you just put an add-on to the house and make one room just with those 90s and black flooring and go all in?
Yeah. Exactly. Get two pairs. Might as well have a quadraphonic room.
What do you use that room for? Oh, that's for my 90s. Gold Samurai edition.
That's for my Gold Samurai 90s, bro.
Don't you have a room like that?
No, I would make a room like that, and I would put like a Japanese themed super nice chair in there.
Yeah, and just one sword.
That's right.
Yeah, that would be
to cut the wires. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we've done some interesting things in the past week with the theaters now. Given the new document the year-and-a-half-old document that got published. I've been playing around with the acoustics, and it sounds, I think somebody in the Discord also asked if there is such a document for 5.1 channel systems. But I think at that point, you just do you don't assign any roles to the left and right on the theater, and you just go left and right on the front speakers, and then you just go with the height channels. You go as front height, but only for surround, not Atmos. Or sorry, only for Atmos, not surround. In surround mode, you just assign them no roles. It changes quite a bit. These are cool grills, by the way.
Yeah, this is sort of what I would do if I had unlimited money or similar money, right? I would go for one of these sort of more aluminium designs.
Yeah, I know they look spectacular, especially the bottom panels. I would love to get my hands on a set of bottom panels like that.
Yeah, because when I spoke to Andre at Noto, he was saying very much the idea was to see the shimmering sort of look of the panel behind. It's almost like a sail of a ship rather than a completely opaque cloth panel. And that was the thing with the 90, that sort of thing of getting the glimpse of what was underneath. So those aluminium ones, that works.
No, those are cat's ass, man. That looks so good. And I wonder how much they grinded them for, the acoustical transparency of it, right? Because I don't know if you watched that video that was attached to the Discord, like they went full Karen on how this is supposed to sound regardless.
Yeah.
Where they had to redesign the mold, the top mold by, the lip that was there by 1.5 inches or whatever. So another 5-ton block
where
of
the
steel
front
got
point
carved.
is that was flat initially, and then
That's
they
right.
measured the sound difference, so it had to slope down because then it
At
was
800 hertz, it's off by half a dB or 1 dB. Cannot have that.
But that's the whole point with these 90s, isn't it? You've got all these different drivers, and you look at the beaming of each driver at certain frequencies, and then correct the next driver to adapt, and then change so that in theory you've got a speaker that projects sound in the same way at every frequency. And it's genius. It's absolute genius.
It is.
I mean, Jeff Martin really knows his stuff.
Oh, yeah. What I wonder is, because there's also a talk and discussion, I guess, that, you're paying double the money for the same technology, blah, 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 right? Because the speakers have increased in price over time so much. But in the same token, if you look at it, how much more could you actually improve on that speaker algorithmically or physically? Physically, I think that they've hit the reach and limitations of a very simple point. We need to bring these speakers through the customer's door.
Yeah.
And these, honestly, they barely clear it in some instances and scenarios. I've had one client that we were moving, it was last year, and I had to take the crowns off of the 90s in order to fit them through the door. I had to take the whole speaker more or less outside of it apart just so we can fit them in, and then put it all back together, and now he's selling them. Fudge. So okay. But
I think we need some material science improvements before we get anything new, right? Because just the amount of pressure you're dealing with those big bass woofers is insane. You need something that doesn't shake itself apart.
Well, the only way to do it is like they've done it with the 90s. Big block of freaking aluminium, and good luck. There's no... Each cabinet is sealed separately.
Yeah. Even
those grommets that are in the holes where those two plus and minus plus the thermistor goes out from the driver, man, that's some hard ass rubber. I don't know. They must have literally molded that, and then just it pulls in with the plug and stays, because you cannot remove it. It's so well. And then again, how much pressure is inside this bloody speaker, right? When it's, when you get to the 70s volume and so on and so forth.
Yeah, but what I guess you can end up with is maybe some sort of carbon composite, where you have different layers of things that work together, right? It's probably
to reduce the weight.
No, just keep the pressures in and stop things deforming. Because
the tech is changing on that. Actually, there's been a release. You ever heard of the company Brain? BRANE.
No.
They've made a speaker that allegedly breaks Hoffman's iron law, which has been the rule for bass speakers for the last 100 years. About you can't have deep bass high efficiency and small cabinet size altogether. You can have any two of the three, and they've made basically an A5 size speaker that goes 6 dB louder with less power and deeper. And they reckon they've done something with magnets behind the driver that changes the way the air pressure builds up. And potentially, if it may just be they're lying, I don't know. But if there's truth in what they're saying, you could then re-engineer something like a Beolab 90, and it could be immensely powerful.
Just don't turn into Ocean's Gate, for God's sakes. Shards
that's
of
kind of interesting.
That is. I wonder if it's true, because I guess law is a law in physics.
Yeah, until it's not anymore.
Until it's not, but it's interesting. But yeah, I guess the smaller footprint, but then that's about all that you can do. But would you do something in between the 50s and 90s, I guess?
But the thing is, with the smaller footprint, it also gives you different design options, right?
Yeah.
Because like you don't need a certain depth anymore. You can position stuff differently, potentially. I mean, you can make it taller or slimmer, or like you can do all sorts of things. I mean,
I'm quite curious.
You could potentially even change what's that principle called again, where you have the same drivers on top and then something in the middle. I forget the name of that.
Depolito.
Yeah,
where you've got your tweeter in the middle, and then mids, and then basses. Pentas are almost that. Yeah, and then so you create a horizontal beam of sound by focusing the sound pressure above and below.
So you could potentially do stuff like that, because there's no way that massive bass driver of the 90s is going to fit on top without it falling over.
Yeah, in fact, in the chat, MM's just said, Brain Audio's got the speaker that breaks physics. In theory, it's hard to know. There isn't enough evidence behind what they're claiming to know if it does actually break this law. And this law is just a compromise. It's not actually fundamental physics. It's an interpretation of what's possible. So at the moment, it's sales talk as much as anything. But yeah, if it's true, then we could see companies like B&O being able to pick up on that and do the same thing and do it better. But I mean, thinking back years and years ago, sending cables out to Jeff Martin, so he'd got his wooden prototype speakers for the 90s plugged into his V1 40-inch TV at home, and some of the pictures he sent me of the setup of these boxes, there's no way it ever looked as if it was going to become the 90s. And what B&O have been able to do with the theory that he's put together is mind-blowing. So if we can take this theory of what Brain Audio claim they're doing, if somebody like B&O can take that, we could see the 90s having to be upgraded, because
it wouldn't be a bad collaboration, because at the end of the day, they've collaborated with Sausalito Audio Works, and the acoustic lenses became a thing, right? Where those guys got shut down and laughed at by everybody else, but B&O said, no, we're going to be doing it. And I guess we're the ones that can afford to do it visually.
Yes.
Because that's what everybody was bitching about, is this beak, right? What is that? Well, that's what makes it sound great. Like, but B&O pulled it off with the 5s, the 3s, and so on and so forth down the line we go from there on after.
Yeah.
But I guess now they've gotten to the point where they can replicate that with the DSP.
Yeah.
Hence the Beolab 8s.
The one gripe I have with the DSP is that audio latency, because with Beolab 5s, Dave Moulton used those as near-field monitoring speakers in his recording studio.
Yeah, good luck with that nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. There are low latency modes on the 50s and 90s, but there isn't a no latency mode.
But the low
latency can do it.
The low latency on the 50s is a lot of latency.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's like
it's crazy.
25 milliseconds, something like that.
It's
you
crazy.
Can't plug a guitar into them and play.
No, you can't take a DJ booth either.
No, there's nothing live, nothing in real time can be passed through them.
And I asked Jeff Martin, and he said, we don't make PA speakers. And I get that, but a lot of your customers are musicians. And if you want to invite your friends round and start jamming on instruments one night, and you've got £100,000 speakers, they should be able to do that. You should be able to press a button, setting in the app, and go, right, turn off the DSP, let them play.
Maybe that could be improved, that the DSP gets substantially faster in processing, where that latency becomes non-existent due to maybe a quad core instead of a dual core, right? Or whatever they use for the DACs. And I think that the only improvement...
They couldn't do it originally on the Phantom, and now there's a zero latency mode. And yeah, it doesn't sound as good, but when you need that instantaneous sound for live music or exact matching on a movie, they'll do it. So I think that needs to be where B&O move to now.
Mikey, you're muted.
No, he's just doing that to fool us.
I don't know what he's doing.
No.
But yeah, I mean, I saw a video on a boat where there was a DJ playing on their Pioneer CDJ 2000s Mark III or Mark II or something, and she was playing on the 28s. And I was just thinking, oh, you're gonna have a hell of a time playing on the 28s with two CD decks and a mixer. I mean,
there is a way around that. There is a way. I've had a few people ask that, and I've made adapters to go in on the Powerlink input and convince the speaker that it's connected to a Beovision. And the latency, there's still latency, but it's much, much smaller. And that is small enough to work with. You can
so it's got to be around 12 milliseconds, I guess, would be probably the
I think so, yeah.
The most.
It's just when you
you're back. But yeah,
the
28 at low latency is...
I mean, yeah, maybe it's possible. I don't know.
Aren't you always going to have a little latency with digital crossovers?
Yes, but if it's less than, say, 5, 6, 7 milliseconds, that's small enough that you can play a live instrument to them, and it's no difference to being a few meters away from an old-fashioned analog speaker. Whereas you get to 20, 30 milliseconds, it's fine for TV watching. It wouldn't cause a major lip sync issue, but it's starting to get to the point where for beat matching for DJing or playing a guitar, you're aware that you strum the strings and then hear the sound.
I would hate that.
Something, it's not an edge use case. This is a regular request. I see this most weeks.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, within a couple of weeks of the 90s going public, one of my customers had got a pair of them in his music room and was distraught that he couldn't plug his guitar in.
I mean, I have a friend, he has a music studio, and he used to have a pair of Lab 5s in the music studio as reference, and he wanted to update. And he asked me what he should go for the update, and we ended out with the Bowers & Wilkins Diamond series instead of a pair of Lab 90s or 50s.
That's a good call. Because, they're great speakers for music, but
Bowers & Wilkins sound great, but to me, I just don't like that the tweeter on the top looks like somebody left a microphone on a speaker. You know what I mean? It's like the karaoke.
I kind of like it, but I mean,
to each their own again, right?
Yeah.
But to me, it's just that one thing that bothers me on them a little bit. But we've done some nice. I've done one. I forgot which speakers they were, but they were all walnut, and I'm a sucker for that wood, man. Oh my god, they look so great. And then we put it up with an AVM streamer, and I forget what the amplifier was. I think it was Burmester. I was impressed. I was very impressed. Like, it's definitely not a B&O-ish sound, right? Like, you can distinguish the Jeff Martin signature and his little, the magic glitter that goes into the DSPs versus listening to a more or less a salad of different equipment or collage of different equipment, because B&O is very controlled, up to the source that you plug into it. But with the rest of it, it goes, what kind of cables have they been blessed, and this, that, and...
Well, it's also something more basic, like Bowers & Wilkins in general. You have to put like 2.5 meters or 2 meters away from sidewalls and something like a meter and a bit from the back wall, right? Like,
they're rear ported, aren't they?
If you have any sort of normal size house, that takes up so much of the room.
Because I use some Dolly speakers at the moment, and I am in the living room, and I have to move them out from the wall for listening, and then put them back when they're not. And yeah, that's annoying. But yeah, that's something that I mean,
you get caught with the speakers in the middle of the room. Your wife comes in. What are you doing? Sorry, honey.
Yeah. I mean, B&O is amazing for that. The room correction on the new speakers now, just it's so much better. But we just need that zero latency option, even if the sound quality suffers. And the other thing is, we need a button where if you bought GVA and you hate Google, you can just go remove the Google.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah, the Google should go. But I forgot. I got great news. We got 90s coming actually to the shop this week.
Nice.
Ooh, baby. And
what
they're
color?
White. Just to rub it in. Curry mortar the white ones because I have the white ones, right? So I can miss them even more. So we're swapping our 50s out for the 90s, and 90s are swapping out for the 28s, and 28s are going to go on another wall where we're going to do 28s versus 18s. It's going to be all plugged into the theater so we can switch speaker groups and do 28s with the 18s and a 19, 28s with the 19 and see. I'm very curious about that. And that part of the store actually sounds good because we have dead spots, as you know, everybody has, and where they currently are, they kind of sound very poopy. Plus, it's a very old building, and I find that the downward firing bass loves hard surfaces such as concrete. They sound so much better in the condos than they sound in our store because, you know, like they're shaking the termites out of the wood, man, because it's all firing downwards, and it's and the building is old.
You probably thought of this, but for setup, for demoing purposes, I would put the 28s on Wisa. Mostly because when you turn the TV on, the 28s will be on, and you're not having to do the closing and every time you switch over speaker groups.
I have not hardwired the Wisa speakers. The 28s at all. They were always floating on the Wisa. Now here's I know it's in the Beo Academy thing in the when you're supposed to learn things, but what I don't understand why it's like that. If you are stereo pairing Beolab 8s or 28s, you cannot have them hardwired in between until the Wi-Fi connection between them is established. They will not pair.
No, that's right.
That's a little weird because, like, if you put
it's because they're pairing on a different frequency to the Wi-Fi.
To the Wi-Fi router.
5 gigahertz, aren't they?
Yes.
And then they're using the 2.4.
But to me, it should logically, if you connect let's say you have a primary speaker as your left and secondary is on the right, and you have the CAT connector going from one to the other, so the network should be seeing one another, correct?
It should be, but they haven't set it up that way.
No.
I don't know why. But
I don't know why either, and for me, I think
ease of use.
But you don't do a cable between the 28s, do you? I didn't.
You can, but you can't set it up that way.
If you do them too far apart, if you get them far apart enough, they will start dropping.
Yeah,
I've had this issues in the shop with the Beolab 8s. We've put them on the wall where the Harmony 83 is and the 50s are. We put them up top, and they're about, I would say, on the marginal of where you are going to have an uninterrupted stereo experience. But we had them dropping, so I actually pulled the cable in between. I had to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, they were already paired, so I didn't realize, right? So I just click, clack, boom, power cycle them. They, happy, solid. But
don't you put them to speakers together to pair them wirelessly and then put them up in their positions?
Yes.
That usually works well. And then you can, like you say, you can add your cable and they're fine.
So it's like a sync cable, or
basically,
I suppose. It's an Ethernet cable, but it's
an Ethernet cable. And I think that
I
think the data is being pushed then through the cable instead of Wi-Fi between the speakers, so you have uninterrupted communication. And depends. Very advisable for apartments where you have you open your phone and you can scroll 7 screens worth of Wi-Fi antennae access points around. So that's where we do it. But I think that should have been the first thing in the course as a very important note. to put in, because it's not that it's buried, but it's something that, fudge, I've done the 28 scores a while back, and we don't really sell them much because the 8s seem to be a more logical deal to people.
Yeah, because you can have a couple of pairs of 8s and still not be at the price of the 28s. And
exactly,
unless you like your music loud, they're every bit as good, aren't they? It's only when you need more volume in a bigger space that the 28s will.
I think acoustically you can still get away with a better sound if you take the BeoConnect core with the 19 and pair of 8s.
Yeah.
Than a single pair of 28s.
Mm.
Depends also on the placement and if you like it or not. But I love the 8s, man. They're soon to be in this place. I just don't know how to figure this out. It's my biggest problem.
I saw the table stain for the 8s. I didn't see him when they released them. I just saw him a few weeks ago, and right before Steve actually came over for dinner, and I saw the 8s and I looked at the table stand and it's wobbly.
It is, yeah.
It's so poorly made in my opinion, and for that reason,
good. It's just that wishbone that holds them in.
But I need it to be sturdy. I don't know why, but when I walked over to it, you could just punch it and then it will be wobbly. And I'm like, that's not a Beosound product.
I found that if you juice them pretty good on the table stands, they do start to dance. They start actually moving backwards on the shelf for us. And I don't know if it's not even a shelf, it's a piece of granite that we have it on. So I guess depends on what you put them on.
Yeah. But I mean that's so far away from a Bang & Olufsen experience, in my opinion, that the speaker itself moves around. I don't think that's B&O-ish.
But they move around also on the wall mounts. On the wall mounts, I think they're worse than not wall mounts. Really? Sorry, the floor stands. Yeah, because on the floor stand you can just lift it up and adjust the tilt, right? So little fingers can.
When I saw it, that was a deal breaker for me. I didn't even listen to him. I was like, so then they were like, "Do you want to listen to it?" And I was just standing and poking them, and the guy in the store was like, "Do you want to listen to it?" And, nah, I'm okay. I'm just gonna leave.
Yeah. I mean, most of the time it doesn't affect the sound, but it's just that fact it shouldn't move as much.
I don't know.
It's that wishbone. It's that fitting into the back of the speaker. It's just not. Yeah, it's not as robust as I was so
disappointed. First of all, I kind of got intimidated by the size of it. I think it's way bigger than I thought. And then when I walked in the store and I thought, okay, it kind of looks good. And then I touched it, as I mean you do, and I was like pushing the mic buttons and stuff, and it was like moving around. I was like, okay, no. And then I was just poking it, and nope.
You're supposed to be a remote one, bro.
Then don't put the ability to use the top.
Yeah,
I agree. Well, to me, it's just a shame when you put them up on the wall, and it's that panel will never be touched by anything else better than a microfiber cloth every Christmas or before Christmas when you do a thorough house cleaning.
That's why I didn't see any need to upgrade from 17s to these. They may sound better, but you're paying for so much tech I would never ever use because surely of the placement, right?
Yes.
But yeah, you don't have to learn the golden rule of always wipe anti-clockwise with the microfiber cloth, because otherwise you turn the volume to maximum and then I'd strike a my button.
That is every time I go do a theater install, and I tell people that you never swipe from left to right. You always go from right to left.
Yep.
Why? And then I take the microfiber and I do it and just and it just freaking rockets the theater. It's like, oh my god! I'm like, if you do it the other way, you start with the volume down and you end up at a my button 1.
Yeah.
Which I still think, honestly,
I never had that issue. I use a microfiber cloth every time and just whoop, nothing happens.
Oh, I was gonna say ask Heidi then, because you probably don't wipe it.
No, I do. I wipe the speakers and I wipe the theater. That's my job.
That's your job, right on.
Yeah.
But no, it depends on also what cloth Like I have these the freaking the sticks, right? They smell. But what I find that the oil that evaporates, it does leave shit on the glass. You can notice it. Like it just floats in the air. I'm breathing cancer here. We're all gonna die at some point anyway, so who cares? And yeah, like if you really want to get it off, it's not just dust. You gotta put your hand into it, and then les boutons are activated. And then it's not fun. But I still think they should have a cleaning mode or disable the touch interface at the top.
Yeah.
Just like they do on the 8s when they are in a Wisa mode, or 28s, that it's just the play button and nothing. You can't touch it when it's on. It should be the same behavior for this, because just for the cleaning sake, and like Mikey has cats camping out on the top, or curious little hands that come in and touch a button or something.
That's no way to talk about
Hamilton doesn't touch the speakers or the TV.
He's a good kid.
He's a good kid.
But not everybody's got a good kid, brother.
He also threw a car into the Harmony. And
so he already checked the box.
Right now he's taking these toy cars made of metal, and in the living room he's like driving them all the way from one end to the other end, and he's so close to hit the 50s almost every day, but he hasn't hit it yet. And then I'm saying, don't do it because you're gonna hit the speakers. And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then he stops for an hour, and then next hour, again. So yeah.
You need to get some of that flex tape and put it on the bottom of the 50s.
Or who did we have on the podcast that showed the pictures with that had the doggy gates around their 9s when the kids were young?
Oh, John from Norway.
There you go. See, maybe you need some doggy gates, or build them a little hot wire or hot rod track or whatever, Hot Wheels track. So it just stays.
I mean, I thought about it when we lived in the apartment that I would gonna put like this fireplace to prove it from kids in front of the whole TV and everything. And then I was like, nah, I mean, I don't want to look at that all day. I'd rather just
10.
drive him out to the garbage disposal things and then see a little one and go back home.
I must say, one thing I should say about the 50s and the aluminium fronts is I'm really surprised by how strong they are, because the new cat is trying to use it as a scratch pole and then like climb up on the 50s on the aluminium fronts.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's every time what I think too, and I go loud and like I'm gonna like strangle you, that sort of thing. But so far, no damage.
Turn the volume up the speakers.
Depending on what it is, she may get actually more interested.
Ah, right.
And then it's like the tweeter on top is really interesting with all those high pitched tunes coming out. It's like we must get to that.
Yeah, Jacob's asking in the chat about the floor stand. Yeah, however you mount 8, I mean, to be honest, when they're mounted in properly with the wishbone, they are okay.
They're not going to fall.
No, they're secure, but there is a bit of movement. What can happen with that wishbone is the 2 prongs at the bottom, I think. They're
the pinch ones.
Sprung loaded, and they don't always fully securely lock in. And when that happens, whether on the wall, the floor, the table stand, however, there's movement. So probably if you look at it and it's really moving, they haven't been fitted in right.
But guys, is it all right to have a speaker with that kind of mount? You pay a lot of money for the speaker, you pay a lot of money for the floor stand, you pay a lot of money for, I mean, everything. The wall mount, everything, and then it if you just poke it, it just does like this. I mean, none of my other speakers does this.
I mean,
you also don't poke your 12s.
I haven't tried.
They'll wobble.
In a sense, right? Like this is.
But the thing is, the 12 doesn't. They would wobble, but not in a way where I think, oh, the speaker's going to fall. But the 8 feels like it's going to dismount from the joint somehow. It feels really, really unstable, in my opinion. But probably because you have the weight at the bottom of the 12s, but on the 8, it's a heavy speaker, so it feels like the whole speaker is moving, right?
By the way you described it, I think they weren't fitted properly in the store.
That's what I'm thinking,
got
but
the wishbones in right.
I also have done a number of them. We've done a number of the 8s, and I noticed that in the later release of the speaker, as they come up different serials and newer, there has been a slight adjustment, or they've done something with either the clip or the wishbone, because it doesn't do it on the very recent speakers that I've done in a client's house and I put them on a wall bracket. They don't wiggle one bit, and they don't wiggle one bit on our wall bracket as well. They are a bit wobbly on the table stands, but you really got to poke them in harder.
Yeah,
I will give them another go.
It could be just that it might have not a pre-production, but they might have like the early release where that, obviously that feedback has been on the internal mail as far as like, the speakers are wobbly, and they might have slightly adjusted something. Maybe they had just redesigned the wishbone with a, couple thousandths of a millimeter more on each side, so it clips much tighter. But it's a good fit now that I've seen.
It's probably a repair kit as a workaround. You get a rubber seal and then it's worked.
That's it.
I also think this is like a direct result of having to touch your speakers in the first place. Because like your 3s on floor stands would move if you touched them, and they would wobble, and like
it's not.
But you had no impetus to ever touch them, right?
That's right. I mean, 3s on ceiling mounts they're all over the place, aren't they?
That's right, and they loosen themselves over time. I find with people trying to move them, and then you got the freaking bob head on a floor stand, right? Because the speakers, like, what, did it have a stroke? Like, come on, let's fix this. I've done one system where we did the theater, and the guy had theater, lap 2, and 2 pairs of 3s. Every single one was bob-headed. Had to take them all off the stand, tighten the screws, and yeah, at least they weren't sticky, so the paint was holding on, because that's the only thing that sucks about that. And like Bino said, never ever again with the touch soft paint. It was a great idea at the time.
Yes.
But I guess they didn't account for the fact that people live with these things for much longer than they had ever anticipated design-wise. And also the placement really kills the paint wherever they are. So,
I mean, maybe it's supposed to be like this. Maybe it's not. Maybe it does this over time. When I saw it in the store, I was like, "Oh, that's a bummer." And
there was something wrong with that, Henrik, because we don't, even in our shop, they don't. The only thing that I now come across, and it's also been published on the internal mail, is the packaging sucks. And when you get the speaker, the aluminum the aluminum case, there's a plastic peg that retains on the rubber grommet, like B&O's famous for, and depends how hard they get tossed in the transport, that peg breaks off and then it starts to slide around. So I wonder what they're going to come up with, because I personally agree with going green and so on and so forth, but I think we should revisit the idea of styrofoam yet again. Because that milk crate compressed paper nonsense that the 28s and the 8s are now coming in, I slightly disagree with the packaging. I understand it's fully recyclable, but
sending it twice is worse.
But sending it twice, I think, is a little bit more carbon footprint than having a box that works out. And I don't understand how that oversight happened, because I had gone through, and I'm sure you, Steve, had gone through the torture chamber and stuff, and
it's not in place anymore, from what I understand.
Oh,
I saw it back in 2012, but when I was there 2 years ago, I don't recall seeing it.
That's
so I don't think they're doing those drops and the freeze tests and everything.
Yeah, but that's a proper room to break your heart. If you, as a B&O fan, you go, Jesus Christ on a cross, man, what they do over there, or did.
Yeah, I was watching them trying to break a BO4 the first time I was there, and it's like, no, just give up. that thing's going to outlast us all.
That's it. Yeah, I've seen. They were testing the S8 Beolab 14.5, the pack, the box, and they were dropping it off this piston desk because they were simulating it, dropping it off the height of the back of the trailer. And then they open the box, they inspect everything, they open the thing and inspect the boards, and it's insane.
Did you get a chance to do like to an Avant?
No, I've seen the Avant. Avant was at the time in the smoke chamber, which that was insane. That little glass aquarium that they have with it's like a magazine of cigarettes sticking on it, and it just
I saw that. It's just
hell, man.
It's just amazing. I mean, who in their right mind would make a smoke machine to test out their products? I love everything about it. And
it's a great idea.
It is. I don't think that it's an idea today anymore.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, it was probably...
Haven't you seen the 9000C advert? First thing that lady does is lights up.
Oh, really?
While she's playing her music and dancing. Yeah, it's the thing now. Everybody's smoking tobacco.
I'm in Montreal. You're weird if you don't smoke. So it's here it's insane, man.
Mm.
Did she really, Steve?
Yeah.
She smokes in the beginning.
Yeah,
I remember.
I think she has a whiskey as well.
But I can't remember she was smoking a cigarette. I mean, that's a crazy statement.
Yes,
that's right.
For
maybe
it's an interesting choice. Yeah,
very interesting choice.
That's it. Maybe you should pick up on smoking. Get a pipe.
I will.
It'll go good with your beard. You look like a detective.
I will. I'll have a pipe.
Well, yeah, smoking's good for you again. So that's they start to put vitamin C in cigarettes. So
I did not notice that, but I like everything about it. I mean, that's a statement. Yeah, I like it.
It reminded me of the Avant release video. Remember, where it was like this James Bondish. He was also smoking in there, I think, too. With the Avant turning on the orbital stand and
but that's also what 15 years ago, 20 years ago,
2013 it came out, or 2014 I think BeoVision Avant came out.
10 years ago, 15 years ago. But that's also different. I mean, today they're talking about taking old cigarettes away in 7-Eleven in Denmark.
Interesting.
I forget you guys have a 7-Eleven. Denmark is...
Yeah, they do, man.
Yeah.
Look at
me. The hot
I'm
dogs and
American.
pizzas there are great.
Make America great again.
But they're different. It's a completely different 7-Eleven from 7-Eleven here. First, it's cleaner, and there's more pastries and stuff that's actually like edible versus, the equivalent to a gas station sushi that you get in 7-Eleven. Maybe that's where the COVID came from, is people eating that crap in freaking expired November 2020. What? Yeah, 7-Eleven and Burger King was my embassy in Denmark. Because those two I recognized. The rest was just...
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Danish 7-Eleven. They're even on the trains. That's what makes me... you get the train from Struer down to Copenhagen, and they don't have a trolley like the British trains with, it's going through with drinks. There's just a guy with like a Ghostbusters backpack on, and he's got all these food and drinks in there, and he's serving stuff, and never seen anything like it.
That's crazy. That's interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, the 9000C is probably the second last. I think they're gonna do a Beolab 5C at some point.
That would be so good.
I think so.
Henrik, you can replace your 50s with a Beolab 5C.
I mean, I had to YouTube the Beosound System 9000C to see if she was actually smoking, and my God, she is. Wow. They actually redid my shoot from my 28s from the bottom up. That's pretty cool. But man, she's smoking and she's angry.
Yeah.
She's into it.
They probably gave her a wrong brand of cigarettes. That's why she's pissed.
Or maybe she can't get Wi-Fi on her 28s.
Especially with the aluminium lamellas. Yeah.
Boom.
I don't know. I like those aluminium lamellas. I was looking at the video and whatnot. I don't know if I'm in agreement with that little metal clip that goes inside in between. Like, it's not that you can really see it.
It works.
Well, obviously it works.
Yeah, Mikey, when we catch up in London, we ought to pop in and go and see the one that they've got at the Mayfair store, because that's number 1 of 200. So that is the
no way.
first one. Yeah. So it looks so much better face to face than in the pictures.
So can you buy the aluminium for spare parts?
Not
No.
at the moment.
No.
Okay.
I've already looked at everything.
No, I mean, I don't want it at all because I'm going with the light oak. But I thought that they might as well just sell it. I mean, they could. I mean, what are they up to now? 230% from 5 years ago. So they could just up the price on the lamellas, and people would buy it.
Oh yeah,
I
those
think
lamellas
so.
are going to be $3,000, and people would still
Easy.
probably buy it.
I
But
would
people
wonder
would
if
buy
they
it.
do one for the theater. I think the theater. I don't know if the theater. I think if they put it on the theater, it would look cool, but it probably would look like the Jaguar's front. You know, like
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the point. I can't unsee that now.
You just need a cat.
Yeah,
In the
it's
middle.
just that's the one thing that I think there are limitations to what you can put up on the product, that it still looks good, but there is at some point it's like, oh, okay, that looks like it has braces now.
Yeah. Oh, David in the chat. That's exactly. I couldn't put my finger on what she reminded me of, and it's Robert Palmer's Addicted to Love. Late 80s, must be about 1989, 87. Yeah, it's the lipstick that does it. Yeah, and the angry look.
The angry look.
She could be the daughter of someone from the Robert Palmer video.
Her Uber Eats is late. Get a soggy burger in a box. That's it.
I mean, I like a 9000. Just this price is pretty crazy.
But it's been so good for the pre-owned market. I mean, you wouldn't believe how many Masterlink cables I've made in the 2 or 3 weeks since that. It's just crazy. Everybody's putting 9000s back on the wall. It's like, so they go, oh yeah, I've got this. I've not used it for years. Brilliant. They're special again. I'm going to get this working. So
I agree with Mark.
Wow.
It's Trinity from the Matrix.
Yes,
I totally agree.
Yes.
Just with a little more jewelry. She doesn't do kung fu nothing, because those rings would be flying around if she would be doing.
But also, it's probably also the leather that does something. I mean, Trinity, that was more latex, probably. It was more shiny.
They were all leather. She was leather. It was all leather.
She just needs a landline phone now, and she can pick it up and disappear.
Yeah. And I know, because I finished watching Matrix actually yesterday as well again.
Okay, it just feels like that leather had some more polish, maybe.
Yeah. It was Matrix leather, bro.
Matrix.
So did Beano then essentially prove we are living in the Matrix, because we never go beyond 2010, 2005, like looping back to the same time.
But I wonder. I mean, there was a comment also in the chat earlier on that I forgot who said it, but they wonder about the involvement of AI in the future designs of Bang & Olufsen. Do we think that something like that would ever be an option? I don't think so either. I think that the human input is still something that AI cannot. They might use the AI in order to figure out how to mail a certain part of the product.
Yes.
That's where I would see that, harvesting that technology as far as how do you get a certain shape or whatever milled out. But other than that, I do not see them with any product that it would be AI designed.
No, they'd be crazy. I mean, that's the sort of thing that either the massive TV manufacturers like LG might do, or the budget Chinese firms that want to make something looking smart with no money and no design talent. Yeah, that's almost. I think that's a no-go area for B&O. I would have thought.
Christian says if the aluminum front falls, they will make damage. Of course they would. I actually wonder what the weight of those things actually is. And yeah, you don't have to use it. I would definitely put the security clip. At the end of the day, it's not something that you look at all the time, right? It's just there. I just found it a little bit ugly as far as the refinement that the design and the B&O is about, right? It was just more or less like an afterthought. But then again, how do you do that on a speaker that is in production now? To put, like, would you have to redesign the retainer brackets in order for them to be clipped on, which obviously the cost production then raises up, and so on and so forth.
But in this case, with the 9000C and the 28s, would you rather see the 18s with the aluminium instead of the 28s? Because in my opinion, I like the 9000 with the 8000s.
Yes.
And I would like to see the 9000C with some 18s with aluminium lamellas on it. Because I mean that
yes,
that would look cool. Oh, those would be so expensive though. Jesus Christ, man. That would cost as
what do you
much
mean, like
as the
$55,000 expensive?
No, if they came out with the Beolab 18 aluminum grills to production, how much would that be? Those grills would be probably around.
They're selling it for 55 grand as it is.
Fair enough.
But I mean, I think the whole package will be cheaper, which is probably not a bad thing compared to the price right now.
As well. You'd need a core because there's no
string. Oh yeah, but you do get the Beo something connect whatever thing.
Oh, the Encore, but that's different. That's doing a Masterlink interface.
So then you need the Beosound Connect as well.
Yes. No, or the Beo Connect core as well.
Yeah.
Or you need the products that the guys from last week made.
Oh, we need some corrections on that. Philip was saying you can't get the Masterlink plugs. Yes, you can. They're a Tyco design.
Okay.
Years back when I worked on the railway, Tyco were one of my suppliers. So, yeah, I'm hoping he's double checked with them for registered design rights if he's making a replacement, because it's still something they own and use.
Okay.
It was intended, I believe, in the late 1980s, before Ethernet, when home computers were using token ring. It was a serial data bus connection, so it was like a 16-way, and it had a ribbon cable input. And B&O, they also had a version with a round profile cable input, which is the one B&O took. There were even like 32-way options instead of the 16. But yeah, it was meant, I believe, for department stores using like mainframe computers before the first PCs, so they could do stock management floor to floor.
But at the end of the day, if you think about it,
when you said token ring.
But if you think about it, they could have retro-engineered a network into that Masterlink connection, because there's still enough pins available left.
Yeah, they were used for the AV9000 system.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, even then it wasn't fully wired, but it had an extra set of shielded pins in. But yeah, it was never intended for audio, but it works really well. 19.2 kilobits per second, I think the data rate is on Masterlink. So the problem if you're doing like Philip's doing and you're putting that into even shielded cat cable, the energy of the data interchange is at around about 9.6 kilohertz, which is in the audio band. So unless you've got really, really good shielding between your data plus, data minus, and then your audio plus and minus, you're going to get bleed into the audio, which is fine. It's balanced audio. You can reject it, but it's a problem that you shouldn't be putting in there. And the Masterlink cable is laid out really, really well. That, I think, is a B&O design. So it's a B&O cable going into a Tyco plug, and that keeps the pins apart. They've got a foil with 100% coverage.
They're
and a
such
drain wire.
A pain to strip out.
No, they're a joy. They're a joy to work on.
You've
got to be making them over and over and over again until it's you can't do like one every 6 months. Yeah. €3,000 I paid for my Masterlink kit like 20 years ago.
That's a lot of money back then.
Yeah. But that was a Tyco product then. It was under the Molex brand.
So B&O has been dabbling with Tyco for quite some time then, because all the connectors and like all the RJ45 connectors, male, female, and the rack plugs, it's all made by Tyco.
Yeah, I mean, they're one of the world's biggest cable manufacturers, so it's
but I think that the I don't know where they make that, but any of that stuff that I try to find as far as the RJ45 rack mount rails, I cannot find them at Tyco's website. I actually went to Tyco directly back when I was in Calgary, and they were looking at me like I fell off a moon. They had no idea what I was talking about. I even brought the rail. I'm like, have you ever seen them? I've never seen this. Fudge, man.
They make so much stuff they don't know half the time.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But there were going to be issues. Philip's suggestion of converting to Cat, even if it's fully shielded Cat 7, I guess it might work over short distances, but the issue is going to be crosstalk between data and audio, and then signal attenuation, because that's the other thing. You've got really thick cores with Masterlink, so you can go 100, 200 meters and you don't lose signal. Whereas, Cat cables, it's not the answer to everything. So,
but what is a short distance? 5 meters, 10 meters, 2 meters?
Lexcom used to do this 20 years ago. They had a setup that I think they actually digitized the audio, and they were doing it on Cat 3 or Cat 4 back in the day. And that fizzled out because people would, I don't know if they said 50 meters at the time. I can't remember what distance they gave, but a lot of the time it wasn't working the way people expected. People were pushing the limits and it was failing. But the thing is, Masterlink just works. That's the thing. And I think this new idea that Philip's got is brilliant, but we won't really know the constraints until it's actually been built and tested.
Yes.
Because it's going to vary from one brand of Cat cable to another. If somebody uses unshielded Cat 5 or even shielded Cat 6 without the drain wires on each pair, there are going to be issues that can come up. So, I don't know. I think
I really wish that
nice idea, but
I really wish that B&O releases that BeoConnect Encore as a stock item in later. I don't care if it's a year later or whatever, but I think it's a very important product because people that have 9000s, they can still, I could care less, I guess, about the app interface in a way. Oh yeah, this is it. That's the ML. That's the ML box.
Willie knows this. This is geek heaven for everybody else.
That's it. That's it. Leave a like, everybody.
Stripper. It comes with a never put your finger in there, because when it starts to close, it ain't gonna come open until it's gone completely closed. That clamps your plug.
That's too cold. Steve, put your fingers in it.
Like the Tesla truck test.
Oh yeah.
Then the metal crimper.
2 sizes for the ferrule on the end of the plug, and then
that's it.
That ain't opening until it's closed all the way.
That's great.
And the ratchet, but the push strength is sick. Yeah, this is definitely a very, very niche and unique tool.
Oh yes. And you know what most of that €3,000 was? It was these jaws, because I believe B&O, somebody will correct me, I guess, in the chat, but my understanding is B&O owns the license for these. That's the unique keyway for the Masterlink. And then they slot out, which I bet they won't do now. I won't try and do it now. But then the rest of the tool is a generic Molex item, which is a Tyco.
Yeah, it's just, you get the proprietary head on it.
B&O bit. And then so you have to buy that license from B&O.
But you couldn't make those tools anymore due to health and safety and it not opening before it closes fully.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, this sort of the ferrule grip, that is a standard. Any sort of coaxial cable, we used to use those with undersea cables years back, larger versions, and they. That's a standard thing. They're either round or hexagonal profile, and they're always non-reversible, and a bitch. But Masterlink it still exists. It's still in production, and it's a combination of the cable. B&O, I don't think make the cable, but the one I use is made to my spec, which is we reverse engineered the original B&O Masterlink and improved and made sure every tolerance is right. The inking is better now. The colour stripes run along the cable instead of across, so that wherever you cut it, you can always see the colour profile. It's deeper.
That's a good idea.
It's UV stable. It doesn't fade. The layup is right now, so the data wires are away from the audio. Yeah, and
the UV doesn't really matter because it's supposed to hide the wires anyway, so the UV doesn't really make.
Yeah, but the thing is, now, certainly in Canada and the US, the regulations mean that every cable that could go into an industrial situation has to be low smoke, zero halogen, UV stable.
Okay.
So many people run cables outdoors, tack it to the wall, it goes into sunlight, and even like mains cable will degrade.
Yes.
So yeah, it's got to be robust and stable. But that's the thing that goes behind the scenes with these things. It's nice to go, yes, we'll just make a 3D printed adapter, we'll turn it to Cat7. There's often more behind this than
meets the eye.
Yeah.
I still appreciate the effort, though.
Genuine original Masterlinks.
Yeah.
Wait, so it sounds like
great
you're
idea
missing
that they
in
come up
their
with them.
business idea, and you should just make their cables.
There you go.
Yeah.
That would solve it.
As I say, at the moment, there's so much interest in Masterlink. It's unbelievable. And yeah, still making them. Still.
Well, it's
people
the one thing they can't kill, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, there's no way you'll ever
control Link. So. Yeah,
I think that's it's another 10 to 15 years before the ML is going to be completely die, when these products literally physically fall apart. No parts are available.
Yeah.
But Masterlink is, probably one of the longest protocols ever. Give me 1 second.
Well, it's also not dependent on external software and apps and stuff. So even if they wanted to, they couldn't kill it.
I mean, it's just a connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It works. And it works very, very good.
I mean, do you have a lot of Mozart stuff you have to interact with now, Henrik? Because it's the theater and the 28s in the garage, right? But nothing else, really.
Level?
Has it been stable for you, or is it sort of like... Eh?
No, it's stable. It's very stable.
Yeah, I've got no
problems. I don't have any issues at all. I had an issue. Well, that's not true. I had an issue last time the carpenters were here to do some windows, and I have been playing multi-room music for probably 6 hours in a row on all different kind of systems, and then they had a minute of off-sync music between the garden and the living room, and that is a Mozart compared to the normal ASE platform, and then after that it just synced up again. I don't have many issues. I'm really, really sad that my theater is on the beta program. I really want it out.
You have to retune everything if you come out of that.
Yeah, and I don't want to do that. I've used so much time on it, but I would love if B&O could just save my settings on a USB stick or in the cloud or somewhere and let me get out of the beta program and just have something it's just amazing. The problem is that it's only the theater. Every time the theater updates, well, not every time, because the last 2 or 3 times I haven't had the issue, but before that, every time the theater updates, it does it at night, and then in the morning, Heidi comes in and says, well, Hamilton and I is awake and the TV doesn't work. Fix it. And then you have to pull the plug and plug it back in, and then it works. And it's just been... I would love to get out of the beta program, but I don't want to lose all my settings. So I'm a keen beta enthusiast.
I noticed that, actually I got a phone call from a client yesterday. We did the theater last week installed. The play light is white. It shows offline on the app, cannot control it. You have to power cycle the bloody thing. and it just freezes on its own.
I think the last 3 updates for the theater has been perfect, but before that, the 10 updates before that, I had to power cycle the system, which kind of sucks. But I haven't had any other issues. I mean,
are you in love with the new style of the app?
Yeah.
You like it?
Volume dial.
I've been talking a lot with the guys at the UX team from B&O about it, and yes, I do like it, and I do like that. You now on the iPad has all your speakers that you can just push to join, because I have iPads in all rooms, like on these aluminium cradles that you can put on the wall. And it's just the B&O app, and then it will just join and music. It works flawlessly. I don't have any issues. I would love to, and I planned to have. Are
you on the beta app or the standard app?
I'm on the beta app. But I would love to have the Halo in all rooms instead of now I have small screens, and then I have iPads in every room. But I would love to just take the small screens and take them out and just put Halos in every room for lights and music and whatever. But I just can't cope that it's poorly built. So I'm not going to do that. Otherwise, B&O would have an order for 10 just for this house. But it's not going to happen. Yeah, so I like the new app. I love it. It works amazingly. And it's getting better and better and better every day.
It's for sure getting better, but it feels like an awful lot of stumbling to me.
Yeah, there's a lot of stumbling.
I know what you're saying, but I mean, we're
going in the right direction. Yeah,
it's on a good path. I mean, just the talk with all my viewers about they wanted the speakers for the Beolab 3s, the Beolab 12s, whatever, just wanted speakers on the core. They got that in the next update, I think. It's not going to be on the Essence Mark II, which is kind of sad, I think. I am going to try to pull some chains to get that happen, but I'm not sure that will ever happen. Yeah, I mean...
The only thing that I would wish for as far as the Halo, I would wish for a better interface to join multi-room. Because there's no way other than you have to swipe down, go to the room that you want to, and then press the join icon on that.
No.
And I find it a little bit cumbersome. I think there should be a page where if you scroll all the way, let's say to the bottom of whatever screen there is, it should have the more or less the same interface like in the B&O app, where you have all your little room tiles with the products and you can just tap them. I don't necessarily care for the volume control because you could do that with the wheel, but I think there should be something that it's a little more friendlier to use, because I find it, like for me to stand in front of the Halo because it's on the wall and do all that, it's easier to just grab a remote and go list, shower, join.
Yeah, but I have a few specific buttons on the Halo. So if I go to my Halo here, I know I'm in the office. So it knows that it will only do the Beosound Essence Mark II here, or you can push a button for lights, or you can push a button to vacuum and mop the floor. That's it.
But you have it on the gateway then, right?
Yes.
But that's the thing, because with the gateway you can modify and adjust your pages. That doesn't exist on the B&O app, which I think it should be a possibility for you to have a little bit more customization. And I also think that
we figured out a solution on Home Assistant to do it for free with, I think it was a Python script. So you don't need the gateway anymore. But it's a haggle right now. So until there is a done fully package where you can just add it into your home, then the only way right now is the gateway. That is a possible working solution. But the Halo only makes sense, in my opinion, when you have the gateway. It doesn't make sense just to have to add it to a product. So you just have a very expensive volume bar. That's it, in my opinion.
You're very right, because that's all I use it for in my kitchen when I can't reach the remote.
Just turn up the
phone
volume,
rings. So
down the volume. You will never go through the pages. I mean, I have the forecast, I have the weather, temperature of the weather, I have the lights, and all these kind of things.
Yeah, but that's cool because that's a gateway deal, right? And I honestly think that it wouldn't be that hard for them to introduce, let's say, a clock as a display feature on the Halo, where it just tells you time if it's in you know what I mean?
Anything.
If it's not doing anything, it should
you should have the possibility to light up the display at 10% or 5%, just showing the clock.
Mm-hmm.
I would actually enjoy that.
Yeah, that's not bad idea.
And I don't think it's that far-fetched, because if you look at anything that was from David Lewis's era, 9,000, you can display the clock. 3,500 displays the clock.
It's a funny thing because all the touch panel I have, where you usually have like your plugs where you can push and turn on the lights. I have this touch panel, and it can show all the cameras, of course, but when it's just in standby mode, it shows the clock. And every room you have the clock. I don't know. It's just something that's nice. And then I've put it up so when you get close to it, it will unlock itself. And then you can turn on the lights in the room you're in or the room that you walk towards. So you can turn on the lights in the room or the next room. And then you can see, I think, the weather, and then you can see how much power the solar panels are making or the house is using. But that was just a gimmick. It was only for turning on lights, and that was it. I could also do music on it if I wanted to, but I'd rather just use the iPads that are around the house and turn on the music, or the Beo remote one.
Yeah, I tend to use iPads now for that.
It's
easy.
And
it's
very good on the iPad now. Yeah, it's very good on the iPad now. And I guess the new iPad that just came out with that amazingly crazy speed CPU bump that it's got that nobody can ever use, but it has the new display that it will definitely be able to do the close down everything and just show the clock on it as well. And I don't know why, but everybody wants to be shown the clock when the thing is off. And I do too.
Yeah.
Well, because at the end of the day, like, it's just, if you need to know the time at the glance, right? You either run to the kitchen, look at the microwave, or look for your phone, or if you have a watch. Well, I wear a watch all the time. I'm weird like that, but it's...
Yeah, but you don't use it. You watch everything else. You never look down, Willie, and look, oh, that's the time. You will look for everything else in the room, and I do same thing.
Yeah.
And it's so stupid. I would actually take up my phone before just looking at the watch. Oh, that's the time.
It would be the same logic as when you're vacuuming and you can't get that one hair out, right? So then you pick it up and you put it forward, and then you try to run it over again and it doesn't work. It's the exact same logic to that. And you just look at everything else but the hand.
Yeah.
If
anyone in the UK needs the time, then yeah, here we go.
There we go.
Yeah, just saying.
I got the platter. I need to get the mechanism out of my storage locker, and I got the BeoTime as well.
Yeah.
So, see, that's something that they should make.
It's too noisy, so I just put one of those silent.
Oh, okay.
Instead, yeah.
You don't want to hear the seconds tick away of your life.
No. No.
Oh, precious time. Oh man, but yeah, I would appreciate if there was an update for it, because I don't think it's that far-fetched to ask that the Halo is already sitting on the network, so it can get the time from the internet. I don't think that would be that big of an ask. And for the weather, cool, I guess, but then you could probably be able to set it up through the app if it was a possibility, instead of just to bypass the gateway. God knows how long the gateway will be around.
I mean, the clock is just an essential thing. All the other things by the gateway.
Yeah, but the clock, I very much agree. It should be displayed on the Halo. It
Yeah,
would
and
be a
then
nice feature.
the interface between products should be more like the interface from the gateway, where you can put them in, like push in, I want that unit, that unit, that unit, that unit, and then this source, or add, join, whatever. It should be more intuitive than it is today.
By the way, Henrik, you
Yes.
probably are the best one to ask. What's the current state of like B&O and home automation? Because it's been like literally quiet for a year. Like no news releases, no nothing. Like
No,
like
I
it's
mean,
still we're sort of just ignoring it because we're B&O and we sell this, but we don't want anybody to know.
I mean, a lot of B&O tech guys are working on Home Assistant. They don't work on. I mean, it's Chemo that has the
gateway
support of the gateway, and I mean, they're just quiet. Nothing happens and nothing new happens, and you get an update every year. Here, the operating system gets an update every month, but the B&O point of view gets an update every 2-3 months or something. Now all the Mozart platform is in, the ASE is in. So now I can from the contour in Hamilton's room, I can, without the gateway, open the curtains, close the curtains, and I can turn on the lights, turn off the lights. The Mozart platform, you can do a bit more, but I mean, everything is working from Home Assistant now, so you don't need the gateway anymore. So I know that a lot of tech guys, I mean, they have been working on. We have like these big mosquitoes right now in Denmark. It's crazy. They're big. I'll show you. You want to see them?
Whoa! I'm glad I got out of there before.
Oh wow,
Wow.
dude! This thing will suck your blood out.
Yeah,
they will suck your blood out. No, so I know that a lot of people has been working on these things instead of the gateway. So and I like it because I'm more a Home Assistant kind of guy, and I would love to skip my gateway. I mean, I don't use it for anything.
Is that
more
very
Home
DIY,
Assistant.
or can you sort of buy a sort of semi pre-done?
You can buy a semi pre-done unit, or you can do it yourself.
Okay.
It's on the Home Assistant homepage. I think it's called a yellow box or whatever. But I mean, the B&O, the Bang & Olufsen is an add-on. It's a device that you just add an integration. It's for free. And then when you add it, it will search for your products, and I can't even remember. I think it will come up and say you have B&O products, and do you want to add them, and in which room? And then you can just say, what curtains do you want to roll up or down? And then it's just the normal integration with the B Remote one. So, and it works. It works great. I haven't had any issues, which is kind of crazy.
So on the Home Assistant website, can you actually buy that box you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's let me see. Home Assistant IO, I think. Home Assistant IO.
IO, yeah.
And there is something, Home Assistant Green, I think. The easy to use, versatile, and trustworthy hub for everyone. It's called the Green, I think.
Okay.
And you can integrate it with everything. I mean, it I just did 3 videos on how to install it, and the next video I'm going to do is how to integrate with B&O. And I just had a major setback in my life, so I haven't really got around to making the last videos, but I will do it at some point when I have the time and
desire.
Yeah, kind of.
So
But
does that Home
works.
Assistant have to be hardwired, or can it be on a Wi-Fi?
It can be on Wi-Fi, but I mean, if you want to control your home with a hub, you just want to put it in a switch, right?
Yeah, well, that's the problem that I do. I have like the building internet here. So I only have one access point. Everything in here is wireless. So I would have to run this on a Wi-Fi.
You can do it on a Wi-Fi, but I would not recommend it.
Okay.
Just
but that's
dig
just
into your
because of the
hole and
latency.
yank that cable out.
But that's just because of latency, Willie. Because I mean, when I push the button for the lights, I want the lights to turn off and turn on. I don't want them to wait a second or 2 seconds before it turns off.
Okay.
Right?
That makes sense. But yeah, I just thought, because I'm curious to get into it. I have a gateway in my storage locker. I just never had not even a chance to pull it out. Even if I pull it out, I need to go on Amazon and buy a Wi-Fi to an Ethernet adapter so I can hardwire from the network into it, which is silly, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles in here. And once I do that, then I could do the gateway. But I just like for what now in this little place.
And I mean, when you install the B&O integration, then Christian has on his own website, he has the blueprint, which is like a cheat code, and it's amazing. You just add it to your home assistant, and then you can use work with your lights and curtains. I mean, it works very, very good. I use it almost every day.
Interesting.
I'm gonna hop on that integration once I get out of Montreal, because this apartment doesn't really allow for any of that. And once I get out somewhere where I can actually, the first thing, man, the light switches, bro, they're going in. I don't care. That's the first thing.
But also that I think Christian did a blueprint once where when you join a speaker group on the Mozart platform, it will actually tell you, oh, I'm joining the garage and the
announcements of what's being joined, which is kind of cool. And
cool.
I you know what, to me it makes also a lot of sense in the showroom.
Yes, that's probably where it's most useful.
Yeah, because you have like, what the hell am I joining? Because sometimes I don't understand the path of what, like, does it go by what had turned on first and what sequence it turned on, then it follows down? Because we have,
I think it's
TVs.
the last one.
Yeah,
it's the last thing that you touch that it will join, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, because we have 5 TVs and a Beosound shape that usually plays, right? And TVs are in, the demo, the USB stick from B&O with the demo on it. And every time, let's say you join a balance or a level, you press to hold the play, it goes to one movie sequence, and you're like, okay, which screen is it? Okay, it's James Bond. Then you do it again, and now it goes to whatever the lamella manufacturing of the theater, and like, okay, 5, 6 one is the Beosound shape.
I actually stopped all this joining different sources.
That's a good point. Christian says a join command will join whatever changed the last track volume source.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And I just changed everything when I'm joining stuff, because I use the iPad like Steve is using. Mm-hmm. So the garage is always playing music, like 24/7. So I will always.
So your car's not lonely.
So it's not lonely. No, the amp is not on. The amp will turn on if the gate opens or if I turn it on. If the gate is opening, the amp will start playing for 10 minutes. Otherwise, I need to turn it on. But the Beosound Essence Mark II is always playing. So I will always join that as the master source from every room. So if I want to listen to something, I always go to the garage and I join that, go into that source, and then I play whatever I want to play, and then I join all the other things. The only reason I wouldn't make that as a master is if I wanted to use DC Flow, then I need to do it from a Mozart product.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, because I learned this from a guy that did a very, very big house installation. It's actually the same guy that pulled the cables here for me. He works in Marbella, and they always have a core in the rack that is the master of everything. So he will play the local radio station, whatever, and you can always join that station from that room, from every room, right? And I did that here, and I really like that. It works very good.
Yeah, I honestly, most thing that I miss is the lighting control and in the automation, and just having that in the Beo remote back in the days. It's just, you don't know what you got till it's gone, and lighting is definitely the number one thing that I'm going to put back as soon as.
So for Deezer Flow, all you need is a BeoConnect core, essentially, because that'll do Deezer Flow.
Yes.
Yeah. I could buy that, but I don't want to use 15,000 euro on a stupid box, or what the price is now.
Well, the box is not expensive, but the license you have to buy as well. It's another $600 for the B&O unlock, right?
The other thing, if you've got a pair of Mozart speakers that you can have playing quietly, with like the default volume on 1 or something like that, say like in your garage, then there's nothing to stop you using that as the master. So
I know.
I don't know, say some 28s or something, and then they just play almost silently.
I know, but the thing is, Steve, that the garage has 2 amps of Class D 1500 watts, and they drive the garage and the garden. So they have 4 speakers in the garden and 2 speakers in the garage, and it's a 6-channel.
Wait, are you going to add 28s to the garage?
Yeah. So it's 4 channels for the garden and 2 channels for the garage.
So you have surround sound in the garage then?
No, the 2 channels for the garage we're not going to use. We're going to take that out and then put in the 28s instead.
I like that you're still just as ridiculous overkill and everything as I would. I really appreciate that. It's never enough.
Oh yeah.
Why sell them when you can put them in a garage, bro?
Yeah, I mean it's like the movie Tropic Thunder. Never go full retard, but get close.
But once you got your 28s in the garage, you could set them at default volume 1%, always playing, and that becomes your master. You can join that from any room then, or just turn it up when you're in the garage.
I know, but I'm not sure I want my 28s to be on all the time. I would
time the 28s with the garage door. As the door's opening, the lamella's open, and by the time you get your ass out of the car, the music's playing.
I will, of course, do that, Willie, and I will time it, and I will make your video like you did with the bathtub in the old apartment. I will do that. Of course, I will.
That's the right
but
way
I'm not
to
sure
do it.
I don't want the 28s on 24/7. I'm okay for the Essence Mark II to be on 24/7. I'm not sure if it makes a difference, but it's just a thing in the head. I think, that's okay.
Probably more power consumption.
I should just get the new Beosound Connect core, BeoConnect core, whatever. That will work, but I don't like the price. I mean, I'm the only thing I'm gonna pay 1,000 euro for getting Deezer Flow. Nah, that's not gonna happen.
Trade in your old core.
It's a Beo Essence Mark II. I'll get.
You get a fucking gift certificate to a coffee shop for
whatever.
For a medium large.
It works. It works flawlessly, and I love everything about it. And I'm also really like that I can use all my old stuff as well, and it just works.
Maybe you can do the opposite way of a sponsorship and say, hey, Bino, give me one, and I promise I won't shit on it. Like, I won't do a video on it, but I won't shit on it either.
I don't have a lot of communication with B&O anymore.
No.
I think I had a mismatch with their marketing department and their
Don't we all?
Their what is it called? Influencer market. So we're not on talking terms at the moment.
You broke up?
We broke up. It was a beautiful relationship until B&O decided to have a influencer person, because before that everything worked great, but then they got an influencer person and everything went to shit. So
sometimes the influencers do it. Well, at least they didn't go with Dylan Mulvaney. So, but yeah, I think that we're still moving on a good track when it comes to BNO.
Yeah.
I need to dip out in a few minutes, but
I'm going to call it because we're here for today. Thanks everybody for watching. Thank you, Henrik. Hope you're doing well and keep on doing well. Thank you, Steve, for joining. I'll see you
it's a pleasure.
Thursday.
Yes, looking forward to it.
And no show next week because I'll still be in a plane over England somewhere. So bye everybody. Thank you.
Take care. Thanks for watching. Sticking out for 3 hundos. Bye bye. Henrik.